Hi, everybody. Tammy and Elizabeth, week 4. We finished up 3 full weeks and we're going in to week 4. And boy, are we tired.
Oh,
Are
we
we
are.
tired?
So we're apart this week instead of doing this together. If you've been following our daily videos and updates, you'll know that I am in Utah getting rid of furniture and releasing a house so that we can spend the winter in Alaska.
I don't think you're getting rid of furniture. You're providing furniture to the people of St. George.
Yeah. And that's right. I'm not getting rid of it. So that does not mean it's a fire sale.
There's some really nice bunk beds available. Go get them.
And I will bring them to Alaska if you want me to.
That's right. For yard sale of the universe that we're going to have soon. Okay, so Tammy, I'm really, really, really tired. How are you?
Yeah, I'm achy, woke up with a migraine today. My back hurts from sitting at my chair for 12, 14, 16 hours a day. It's been a little crazy as we've been trying to get ready for our WOW kit launch.
Yeah, and it's kind of crazy because here it is. It's been 3 weeks since inception to bringing launching and delivering our. It was going to be a tiny ebook, and now it's like a huge ebook. Introducing the WOW protocol, and it's been really a work of passion, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, I've loved every minute of it, working on it, designing the ebooks. But it's interesting how we can get unbalanced, right? I mean, we're talking about being minimalists, and you fall in,
Oh
right?
yeah, that thing.
Oh, and it's not because we don't know better. It's just that when you get caught up in the minute of something that you're really passionate about, or you feel really strongly that needs to get done, right? Just, I need to do this, I need to do this, is that you start pushing and pushing and pushing. And I wrote about this in a blog post today, that when we push, and we stop listening, because you were talking about, you had that gallbladder attack a couple days ago.
Yeah, that was
But
horrible.
that you were saying, my stomach is bothering me, I'm having some trouble, right? And
Bloaty and everything. Yeah, if I had been listening to my body.
yeah, you will stop. And that's kind of what happened to me. The last couple of days I've been super tired. My eyes have been bleary from looking at the computer. I told you last night I just didn't feel quite right. And then this
Hey,
morning,
let me do an impression of you at the computer, okay? It's like
right?
with glasses on.
I have a laptop, so I'm looking down, but then I have bifocals, progressives, so I have to look up like this. So it's like straining my neck. So yeah, not good body mechanics to be doing for hours and hours.
No, and I've been sitting mostly on the couch, not even in my office, on my busted tailbone, and it would just ache and ache and ache and ache. That's a side effect of losing weight. Now, like, there's bones in my butt that I can actually sit on. And it's been interesting. Well, today I woke up and I was just unsettled and buzzy, feeling like I can't even like buzzy and restless. I mean restless. I just did not feel good.
Right.
And then today it was like, yeah, Tammy, I want my life back.
Right.
I really do. I want to have more than 4 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
And we have been working crazy hours, at least till midnight or 1 o'clock, and then getting up early and doing it all over again.
Yeah. So that brings us to that question that we were talking about earlier, is the importance of drawing a line, because the reality is there's always something to do. So we've got these projects that we're working on, but we also have the stuff we have to do around our house.
And my house is a disaster area. And we have the missionaries coming over on Wednesday. And I mean, and we got assigned home teachers. And I'm like, nobody can come to my house right now. Sorry.
Right? Well, and that's what's been nice about being down here, is there's no kids messing anything up. So that's been super nice. But I've been here before. Like, this isn't the first time I've done this. And yeah, it's about learning boundaries, right? To say, okay, when is enough enough?
Right. And I called my coach this morning, and it was a short 10-minute call. And I said, okay, let's talk about burning the candle at both ends and having it on a like a melted hot piece of metal, so it's melting the whole candle while it's burning on both ends. That's what it feels like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And she suggested that just like we have food protocols, that we come up with work protocols. And I'm like, that is brilliant, that we could actually figure out, okay, we're going to constrain our work to this time and not be so much project focused, but time slot focused, so that we have 2 hours or 3 hours to get this done, and we work on it with focus. And when we get it done, we move to the next best thing, right?
Right. Yeah. And that's Thomas Jefferson education, which is a educational philosophy that we subscribe to. They teach, one of the principles is to structure time, not content. And, you know, we're talking about kids and like that, but the reality is that principle applies to all parts of our life, whether we're little or big.
I agree. I haven't been super structured in my time, and I realize now that I have like this big project, and we have gun school activities, and we have these activities, and now church has added a whole big thing. My next door neighbor got a calling and relief society, and she's been in the ward just a week or two longer than I've been back to church. And I was thinking, if the bishop asked me to do something, I would have to say, no. And I don't want to do that. I want to be of service. I want to have a calling and do that, and really be able to magnify it too. But I got to get my cookies together. And it was so funny when you mentioned, yeah, we are the Mormon Minimalists. I have too much stuff in my life right now.
Right.
I have too many things to do. I need to pare it down, or that I think that I need to do. I think that's the important thing. Really thinking the thought we had over the past weekend, we got to get it done. We got to get it done. Got to get it done. Is that really true? Is Mars going to explode if the kit doesn't get out this week? Yeah, probably not. I mean, that's the goal, that we had to do it, and we're very close. Mm-hmm. So I think it's totally reasonable to think by the end of the week. But I think we had this magical, tomorrow it was going to happen.
Right. Well, and that goes to a couple of these principles, right? The structure, time, not content says, this is when we're doing this, and when the time is done, we're done, whether or not the project is done. So when we structured the content and we said we want to get this done, that just took all the time, right? We could work on it and work on it and work on it, because we always overestimate what we can get done in the short term and underestimate what we can get done long term, right? That saying. So yeah, I really think that getting back to structuring the time and saying, this is the time allotted to work on this. If I don't get it done, it's okay, right? And as mom, I think, and also as LDS, the LDS culture, like you mentioned, church service, I think that there's a lot of places where we get spread really thin because we say we have to do it.
Or we should. or we should. And I know that personally, when I throw shoulds around in my head, that that's just thoughts, and it's something that I'm imposing on myself. Because I don't have
Right.
to should anything. I don't have to anything. I want to do everything that I want. But when I'm running around trying to get it all done, like the amount of things that we have to do expands like a goldfish in a goldfish tank. You know, the goldfish will grow to the size of the tank. Well, all the stuff that we have to do, that will explode into the size of the container we have. For instance, I'd
Right.
like to teach my clients this, and I'm like drinking my own Kool-Aid here because I really didn't think about this until this very moment. So how is it when people who work corporate jobs, or even moms that work at home, or moms that are being moms in that great capacity, and you're getting ready to go on a vacation or a trip, how much can you get done in the day before you leave? Like, you can get more done in that day than you've gotten done in a month. Isn't that amazing?
Right.
It's because we just go to the wall and get it done, right?
Right.
So we've just got to figure this out. One of the things that has always been really, really important to me is getting sleep. I know because of my, being a healthcare provider, and learning that, like, habits of health, and just in general, I know that I function much better on about 8 hours, give or take, of sleep a night. And I know a lot of people are like, 8 hours? What about, like, I'm lucky if I get 6 hours. Well, I cut off the line and said, I want to be an 8 hour girl. And we used to be really structured like that at home. This summer, it went to heck in a handbasket with the sleeping thing. But we used to cut off screen time at 9 o'clock, and then we were in bed at 10. And
Right.
actually we were getting up at 5:30 in the morning, sometimes 6. I might sleep until 6. And when we got up in the morning, it was like Ben Franklin says, early to bed, early to rise, right? Getting up in the morning, I feel like I get so much more done in the morning. And it's not really that the day is any longer, because if I get up at 8 and I work till midnight, it's just, I feel more productive in the morning. Do you think you are?
Um, yeah, I think that we are. And I think that one of the things that I found, especially with my health, and because I'm not at my optimal weight yet, I know that it affects my weight loss,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
If I'm not at sleep, then my body doesn't have the time to repair itself and to get rid of that weight. Yeah, that's something I teach my clients, and sometimes it gets away from us and we just need a reminder, kind of a wake-up call,
I
right?
think I think we've had a take a nap call, right? Like, I'm woozy. I can't do this anymore. I've got to lay down for an hour.
Right? Well, and it's interesting because um, the 6 month no is one of the things that TJ teaches moms about taking care of their family schedule. And they talk about every 6 months you take your schedule and you say no to everything. You clear everything off the schedule, and then you start putting it back in the schedule based on what's most important, right? That whole analogy of if you put the big rocks in and then the smaller rocks in the sand and then you can pour water, you can get way more in there
Yeah,
than
when
if
you
you,
pack it on purpose.
right. And so by reevaluating every 6 months what exactly we've said yes to, and having a conscious choice, because that's the thing that we keep talking about, right, is choosing what you're doing instead of just letting life live you.
Yes, exactly. And it's like my 4 pillars in the morning, prayer, meditation, thought work, and appreciation. Well, Bill, our family, like, I just flipped my hair out of the way. We once a
Awesome.
month, I know, really, once a month we would, huh?
Moan down. Are
No,
you?
it's no, it's Suave from Walmarta. But Bill and I, we would have a family meeting once, like on a Sunday afternoon, and we would talk about what we were going to do during that month or what was on the docket,
Right.
projects that we had done. And then we would have like a weekly meeting too, where we would go, okay, where do you have to be? Who's coming over? What we're going to have for dinner? And we have gotten away from that in the past 3 or 4 months. I think it stopped when I was in Raleigh seeing the grandkids in June. So June, July, August, 3 months.
Right.
But now and my life is kind of unraveling, except for with this big project, we really feel divinely inspired to
Mhm.
do this WOW protocol. And I think that's kept us going and going and going and going. But I think we've hit the wall. And I think a lot of people do that.
Mhm. Well,
Um,
like I talked about in my blog post, this isn't the first time I've hit a wall, but it's the first time that I've been emotionally healthy enough to recognize that it's a wall that I need to actually stop. Because previously it was like, nope, I would call Todd and I'd be like, I need a case of Pepsi and a Costco sized bag of M&Ms, right?
Holy, really? I
Yeah,
mean, really? And you would just plow through that? That's like
right?
back in the
All
day,
the sugar and all the caffeine to just keep moving.
right. Yes. I've been there, done that. Not with M&Ms, but with other stimulants, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's to be able to actually recognize what's going on and go, maybe I can just stop, right? Take a minute and not like I haven't worked on the WOW protocol at all today, right?
Yep.
So,
I think
uh,
it's really important about drawing lines. You know how we don't do Mormon minimalist social media stuff on Sunday. Well, I we haven't talked about this, but you know that in the beginning of the year, I broke up with Facebook altogether. I was gone from Facebook for months.
right?
And I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed not having my face in every other person's business on Facebook
Right?
and getting caught up in that drama. And it's like the time suck of the universe. It's like a black hole. I mean, we get on it and then we're going to like say, okay, we're going to do this for 5 minutes. And then an hour goes by and it's like, what did I just do? Right? I watched cat videos and surfed memes. Right? So having that structure of not even doing social media on Sunday, I really like it. In fact, you know that I don't even like to pick up my phone until 9 or 10 in the morning. And I know that how I like it isn't right for everyone. Like you have to decide your own path. But I really like taking the day off of social media, of work. And we actually did kind of work last night on the WOW journal, putting it together into the book. And I'm thinking, if I had just taken all of Sunday off and spent time with Bill and maybe went for a walk or even like read or
Mhm.
watched conference talks or something like that, I would have been ahead of the game today and not so completely worn out,
Right.
right?
Because same thing. I had the same conversation. We didn't do much most of the day, but the evening we worked pretty hard. And if we had, I had that conversation with Todd. He goes, "It's Sunday, stop." And I'm like, "We got to get it done." Right?
But we got to get done. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a challenge of our own making, and I think that we do it in a lot of areas. And social media can so for me the social media is, I enjoy catching up with my friends, but the reality is over the years I've run a number of businesses where social media is where my audience is. And I've always, people would be like, "Oh, you're on social media all the time." And I'm like, "Yeah, because I run a business on there, or two or three." And I know that there's a lot of moms like me who are doing things on social media to create an income to help with their family
Oh
finances.
yeah. There's all sorts of, there's,
And
and it's such a blessing too. I'm not knocking it because
no,
I've realized that I've had to do that on purpose for my business purposes,
well,
but
so
it is such a blessing to have like Facebook and social media so moms can stay home and create wealth or income for their families. Back in the day, there was not like that at all for me. Like when I was young, I think I first got on the internet in the AOL days, like in 1995 or something,
right?
right? It's crazy what the opportunities and abundance that we have and the tools we have to stay at home, take care of our kids, right? And
Yeah.
still make money.
Well, and I think that if I could share what I have learned and what has worked for me in the past, and again, it's like it's cyclical, right? It's like we do really good, and then we have to remember, and we do really good, and we have to remember. But and that is that I do a couple of things with social media. Is that I go on there with very specific things to do, right? I'm going to post these 2 pictures to Instagram. I'm going to share a link. I'm going to comment on 10 people's things, right? There's really, sometimes if we structure that time, right? And it's like, and this is going to be a half hour. And I have to set an alarm because you're right. It just can like, right?
Yes. So we have, oh, there goes my phone. So we have a social media protocol, right? Like a work protocol, like a food protocol. Yeah, it just goes back to making those conscious decisions and constraining what we want to do and making decisions on purpose, not restraining, but constraining, right?
I'm going to dip my feet in the swimming pool.
Okay, that's really nice. I need to dip my feet in my hot tub because I'm cold today.
Yes. And it's warm out here. It's just actually perfect. It feels
No.
sitting on the concrete and it's warm because of the sun that's been on it, and like it's radiating up into my back that's so sore.
Yeah, maybe you should like lay down on it though, and that would hurt your, that
That
would
might
help.
be shared in the video.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move into what we've actually been working on and what we want to present and offer the world this week. You want to start?
Sure. So I guess let's talk about where it started. So you and I were having a conversation about Whole Foods, and I was talking about how I use a different program that provides food for myself last year to lose my weight, and I coach other clients to do the same. But that I had clients who wanted Whole Foods and wanted to do it with Whole Foods. And once they were done with the program that gives them food, they needed to transition to Whole Food. And there was a few bumps and things, and I was like, I need to do this so that I can figure out how to coach them. Like, right, if I haven't lost weight with Whole Foods or transitioned to Whole Foods, it becomes just theory instead of I've done this. So I've been searching for about 6 months, trying to figure that out. And you and I were talking about it, and you were sharing information, and I told you about my patriarchal blessing and how it told me to obey the word of wisdom and watch what I put in my mouth. And that somehow I knew that that was the key to this, to Whole Foods, but that I was struggling to figure exactly what that looked like. And that really started this whole project.
It did, because I had a similar path and I tried many different ways of eating. I even was a vegan in the early part, a nutritional vegan in the early part of this year, because I wanted to do the same. I have clients that come to me that say they're vegetarian or they're vegan. How can you really help me? You haven't been through that experience. And I learned so much in my 90 days as a vegan. It was incredible, but it just added to my tool chest of what I can help others through having that experience.
Right.
And
So I started
and
looking for wisdom and realized that really, truly, the answer is there.
yeah, and when you read it to me and when I read it, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is how I have lost the majority of my weight. And I've always been a proponent of the word of wisdom, right? That's kind of our secret sauce as Mormons, right? We have the
Right?
word of wisdom. And I've, even in my 30 plus years of wandering in the wilderness, really never deviated. I wasn't down at the bar and whooping it up and like getting high, or, well, I did drink coffee, but I went through lots of periods where I didn't drink coffee because I had that understanding that Heavenly Father told us that coffee is a stimulant, right? And it's not following the word of wisdom. So whenever I got stuck, coffee was one of the first things that went, because I was trying to break a plateau or find out what my behavioral pattern was around coffee. And because like those morning drinks can be very ritualistic, right?
Right?
Even if you're drinking tea, or herbal tea, or
Pero is the Mormon coffee,
right, or smoothies.
right?
How many people do you know that have to have their smoothie in the morning?
Right.
Right? So, yeah, so that is one of the things I took out. So when you said what you said, and you read me actually the scripture, and it so totally resonated with me like a tuning fork. We were ding, same frequency. I'm like, we have to tell other people about this. We have to. It's like the spirit shouted at both of us, I think, at the same time, and said, yes, this is it.
Right. And it started as, hey, we should write a book,
Oh yeah.
right? And it has morphed into what is now the Mormon Minimalist page and the Word of Wisdom, or the WOW Academy. Um, and because we realize, I think, the Word of Wisdom is there. Most of us, if we talk to LDS people, and even people who are not LDS, they understand the principles, right? They understand, hey, you shouldn't eat things that are bad for you. The Word of Wisdom calls some of those out. Others of them, it doesn't list specifically, but it talks about that the Word of Wisdom is for the weakest of saints, right? We know that the scriptures tell us that it's not good that we be commanded in all things. And so there's a few things that we have looked at this and said, for us, and we are not saying that this is gospel according, like church gospel, but we,
According to Tammy and Elizabeth, no, it's not dogma or doctrine.
yeah, it's not doctrine, but we have looked at it and said stimulants are bad, right? And that's all stimulants. So we know that the church has come out and has said no coffee, tea, tobacco, alcohol, that they have said that includes any mind-altering drugs. And if we include any mind-altering drugs, that includes caffeine and sugar and white processed flour.
Yep,
Because
processed flour.
things, the white processed flour, the sugar, and the caffeine do the same thing to our mind that the other things we're not supposed to use do. So
Right.
if there's a problem with what happens in our mind, and I think that what we decided and felt really, really strongly about was that Heavenly Father wants us to be able to recognize His Spirit. I had this like very clearly about a week ago. Oh, I think I was driving to the airport. No, but we had been fasting and praying about something that we were struggling to find an answer to, and as I walked by, my daughter had some chocolate covered raisins in her room, and I was rummaging trying to find something that somebody needed, and I saw those, and by complete habit I grabbed a handful and shoved them in my mouth. About 15 minutes later, I was like, woo, I feel good, maybe this is the right answer. And suddenly, like, my head just went bonk, bonk, bonk. Wait a minute, I have just been stimulated by the sugar that I just ate. And it becomes very, very difficult to tell the difference between, is this an answer to prayer or am I on drugs?
Yeah, you're on drugs. That dopamine, you were high on dopamine.
Right. And if we understand that alcohol and drugs do that to us, and the scientific studies are there that processed flour, sugar, they do the same thing in our. If they do an MRI, it does the same thing as cocaine in our brain. right?
Yeah, and heroin. And of course, like, that's another thing that, I teach my clients, and we probably teach our clients together, this whole um, object lesson that, we don't shoot up heroin, and we're not getting high, and we're not, doing cocaine. And certainly after a long, hard day, we don't get to go to the pantry and pull out a pack of cigarettes to unwind, right? So I think we need to start looking at our food in that same way. It really stimulates us, and it causes the desire for more stimulants. And why is that important? Why is that important? I think that's important, just like you were saying, because Heavenly Father has been teaching us, or teaching me all my life, that self-mastery is the key. And if I am a slave or addicted to caffeine, or if I've got something that's more important and causes more food chatter and desire than just, life in general, there's a problem there.
Right. Well, and that was when I had this like, oh my gosh, it was just an oh my gosh moment where, I have always been taught, my dad talked to me growing up, that Satan always has a counterfeit to everything that's good, is that he offers a counterfeit. And I really truly believe that those things that stimulate our brains are the counterfeit to experiencing the Spirit and Heavenly Father's revelation. So
And they're false pleasure, right?
right,
It's concentrated false pleasure. And it takes away from the real joy and the real love in our real life lives, the pleasure that we can get, right? Tammy, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
no, and that's exactly it. It's that in a blink of a moment, and we've talked about that this was personal revelation for me, that I totally understood what was happening. Now, does that mean that I am 100%? I struggle. It's still a challenge. I don't have a problem with drinking alcohol, tobacco, but I have a challenge with desiring the sugar and the flour, and it's given me new perspective. Like, I think not everybody, but for a lot of LDS people who come across addicts and alcoholics and people that can't stop smoking, and they're just like, what's your problem? Just get it together. And yet we talk to our clients about sugar, flour, and caffeine, and they're like, oh no, I couldn't live without those.
Oh, no, I can't imagine a life without gluten-free bread.
Right?
Right?
Yeah. And so I think it's fascinating. And we are not asking people to go 100%. I think our WOW protocol starts with 3 meals, no snacks, whole food, right? We're not saying give it all up right now. We're saying let's get this first part in line, right?
And we even have a transition program to plan to go from like Arby's and Taco Bell and prepackaged foods and all that kind of thing to whole foods, because a lot of people, and I think you were in the same boat, you really didn't understand whole foods and how easy they could be.
Right.
So we have that.
I had the first day that I did it, this go round, and I'd had similar experiences before, which is why I just quit. I walked through the grocery store and I called you and I'm like, there's nothing to eat, right? In all the grocery store, I can't find anything to feed my family.
How am I going to feed my kids and not go bankrupt?
Right? Yeah. And now I laugh because I'm like, it's just not that hard. But it's a learning curve, and it's a change in perspective and a change in our thinking. Yeah, that instead of going through the drive-through, I can walk into the grocery store and walk out with something that doesn't cost me any more and sometimes costs me less.
Right.
And for me.
Yeah. I think it's really important to tell everyone too, Tammy, that in the WOW protocol, there's a food list and we give you suggestions, but only you know what's right for you. And we only gave those suggestions to provide a guideline, a starting place, a place to jump off. But we in no way, shape, or form are admonishing or encouraging someone to change because we said so, right? That's why all the thought work is involved with that. And that's why we have the Wow Journal, so we can start managing our thoughts, because everything that we have in our lives is created from a thought. Everything that we have now, we thought we could have it, and now we do. So that the brain is the most powerful tool that we have at our use in the universe right now, here and now. So let's start managing our thoughts, and taking the first step is taking a look and the awareness of the thoughts that we're having that are creating their current results. So when we talk to our clients, we're like, just write your stuff down, write your food down, and when you eat it, don't change the way you are eating.
Right.
Just watch it happen, because we are not the thoughts we're thinking in our head. We are essential self, our connection with the spirit, the child of God part of us that's eternal, is the watcher or the observer of our thoughts.
Right.
It's not our monkey brain.
Right. And I think that's an important part for people to understand. Just like in the gospel, it's precept upon precept, that this is the same way. It's step by step as you get to it. And, we have, I would say for me, I have a really strong testimony of this. But testimonies are built over time, and testimonies are built as we gain new knowledge and have experience with something. And so you might not, the people watching may not have a testimony like we do of this stuff. And all we're asking is to think about it, right?
Yeah, and give it a try, because if it doesn't work, you can always go back to what you were doing. That's the brilliant part of it.
Yeah.
And I think what I bring to the table is I stepped on the scale and I lost 160 pounds this morning. 160 pounds, right? I've lost just about as much as I weigh. And that's really incredible. I have, over the past several years, taken a really long and winding road to be able to get to the point where I can lose weight effortlessly without a bunch of chatter. I know what's going to happen. I know what the result is going to be, and I know how fast I'm going to drop weight. And if I slow down for some reason, because I'm sick or overtired or have a gallbladder attack, I am patient and kind with myself, because the result is not actually the weight gain. I mean, the weight loss. The result is who I become here in the present, working on that goal.
Right.
And I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I know for a lot of people, they want their own health, but they also want something that they cannot have to eat differently than their family, right? And I think that that's one of the beautiful things of the Word of Wisdom, is that this is a whole family plan. And we encourage women to work on themselves first, and slow, because they're gonna, just like our own brain goes, what? Our family is gonna be like, what? I want Cheetos in my lunchbox.
Yeah, goldfish. There's going to be a revolt. There's no fruit roll-ups in goldfish.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before. Our culture. I just saw a post from my sister. They've just moved into a new ward, and she's like, they've had no less than 4 people yesterday bring them food, right, from the ward. They had somebody brought a meal, and somebody brought fresh bread, and somebody brought cookies, and right. And it's like, as a culture, we show love with food.
Yes, and community with food. And this is why we're all overweight. So it'll be interesting as this concept spreads, and how the moms, because us moms are really in charge, right?
Yeah.
How, as we gain control of our thoughts and our food and our eating and our health, how that will trickle out to our friends and our families and our neighbors and our wards and our communities and our schools, right?
Right.
I think it's pretty amazing.
Amazing.
So,
I know we had the 24th of July picnic that you came to in
a
our
Pioneer Day. Yeah.
day. And of course, it was a barbecue and it was a potluck, right? And what was interesting is I went and brought food for my contribution, and I brought whole food. I brought stuff that was appropriate. And guess what? They ate it all.
Yeah.
So I think as we start making those little shifts, that it's just little things make a big difference. It causes those ripples and it spreads.
Yes. So let's talk about what people are going to get, Tammy.
Okay.
So they're going to get the introduction to the WOW Word of Wisdom protocol, which is a great little kind of e-booky thing. And then also we have a booklet on WOW ways to treat yourself better. Or to do things that are nice for you, to give you a new perspective on life, and a couple of things to stop doing, right?
Right. Yeah,
So
because instead of using the chocolate or the soda pop or the M&Ms, that there's other options.
that don't involve food and
Right.
don't involve money. Some of them are like, go get a mani-pedi, that involves money. But I guess you could take the time to do your own mani-pedi. Like, we can do that, right?
Right.
Yeah. So,
They're
yeah.
getting so inside they get the journal, right?
Well, as part of the whole kit, yeah, but we're not releasing the kit, the whole journal, right?
Right.
Or did we cheat your minds?
I thought we said that everybody that's in our group right now for the next week when we release, for 1 week, they get everything for free.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay, sorry, because I'm delirious. You're right. So it's the WOW protocol, which is actually the food plan, and it has scripture in it, and it has some guidelines. And it has the food lists and how to do it, and it's the kind of nuts and bolts practical part of it. Then we have the WOW ways to treat yourself nicer, which is really important, I think, because we don't we don't treat ourselves like we treat other people, right? We're nice to other people and compassionate and understanding, but we don't we don't afford ourselves the same kind of self-love, right? So ways to learn how to self-love. And then we have the WOW journal. Now the WOW journal is the meat and potatoes of the program. And in the WOW journal, there is an introduction to the model and the feeling formula, which are thought tools. There are thought download journaling pages. There's a practicing appreciation pages. There are food journal pages, and there are tracking sheets to track your measurements and your weight on. I mean, this is a full meal deal, and it's 30 days worth of journaling. So it's a fantastical thing, and I'm very proud of it. I'm very proud of all the work that we've done. So the WOW journal is good. And then we also have available 101 food ideas for your family. Tammy, that you created that mostly. You were the project lead on that. So tell people about that.
So like I was saying, that my first experience with trying to go whole foods was I had no idea what to make. I was like, right? If I'm not using Campbell's cream of chicken soup, and I'm not using mac and cheese.
And egg noodles.
Right?
To make rubber duck and a can of tuna. That's what we called it.
So there's a lot of things that were staples that as I picked them up and looked at the back, I was like, oh my word, I can't use this, I can't use that. So what do I do? Like, that was really a challenge for me. So we've just included ideas for breakfast, lunch, and dinner meals, and lots of add-ons.
2. Yeah. Sorry, sneezed.
No problem.
Yeah, because we You know, we have really full lives. Like we just spent a whole bunch of time talking about how lives are full, right? How our lives are full. Um, Doing a whole food word of wisdom protocol is supposed to be simpler. We're minimalists, right? We're minimizing our food. We're minimizing our food chatter, right? And we're even going to minimize our budgets. So
Right.
Tammy and I have really tried to make this easy and simple and not complex at all and very concrete so that you
Right.
have actionable steps to take, right?
Right. Yeah. And it's going to be fantastic. So if you're watching this and you're looking for a way to go Whole Foods that doesn't take you an arm and a leg and you don't have to slave over the stove all day long every day to do it, you're going to want this information.
Yes. So we are going to, after we catch up on some sleep, finish up and put the bells and whistles in the bow on the kit and go ahead and offer it to the world this week. And if you are part of WOW Academy, of course, you get first dibs. You get the whole thing for a week. And we will also have links to that on Mormon Minimalist page and probably on the website, right, Tammy?
Yeah. So for a week, it'll be available. So if you've got friends or family that's trying to make changes in their life, this is going to change people's lives. That's why we really feel like Heavenly Father has guided us, because there's too many people struggling with food, and He's given us the answers.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. Okay, should we wrap it up?
I think so.
I don't know how long we've been talking. Oh, quite a bit. This is probably a really long video. So any last thoughts?
Nope.
Okay. Buy Tammy's furniture, all the people in St. George.
Right? Elizabeth wants me to come home and I can't leave until it's gone.
I know, we've got stuff to do.
Get it done. Nope, we are budgeting our time.
Yeah, that's right. And it's going to take as long as it takes, right, Tammy?
That's right. That's right.
Okay, bye, everybody. And I'm going to try to remember to look at you.
Right?
Okay.
You have to look at your camera.
Yeah, looking up at the camera. I'm looking at the camera. Now I'm looking at you. Now the camera. Now you. Camera, Tammy. Okay. Okay.
What is this, week 4?
Yes. Okay, week 4, everybody. Woo, woo. And we are kind of split. Is there like a reflection in from my glasses?
I don't know, because I'm on my phone, I just see a little tiny one of you.
Okay, so let's start over. I took my glasses off and it'll just be blurry.